Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Best Damn Sports Show in Franklin County for Wednesday, April 28th, 2021. I'm the Nighthawk, along with our studio director, Mr. Alan Ritchie Cunningham. And on the panel this week, to my left is Super Dave Handy, and to my far right, Mr. Duke Forrest. And quickly, David, I was in your shop today.
Oh, where was I?
I didn't go looking for you because you talk so much. I never would have gotten back to work.
What time were you there?
I dropped my vehicle off at 2 o'clock, and there were two gentlemen at the service desk. And big guy with glasses, I says, "Is there anyone here to give me a ride home? I don't
we do that.
Live a mile and a half from here." And he goes, "I take you home if you don't mind me driving your car, drop me off." So very nicely, dropped me off. And again, I'm all about service. It's one thing to cut a check and you say, "Well, thank you very much. See you later, you sucker." But I like being taken care of, and I will say, you guys do an excellent job.
They're good. I had to go to the dentist. I was at the dentist at from about 2:30 to 3:15 after. I had to get my annual or quarterly cleaning.
Okay. Yeah, mine's in a couple of weeks.
Quarterly cleaning, or how? You do 4 a year?
Well, I'm 3 to 4.
Really?
I'm twice a year.
I've got not that anybody cares, but I've got bone loss, and I'm going to have to get surgery, and I got to pull out. I got to lose one of my molars, and I keep putting it off, and I go, God.
Isn't it amazing as you get older what happens to your body?
Crap I had.
How it disintegrates?
You think our bodies aren't getting better with age?
No, it isn't.
Oh, geez, I had about 4 or 5 years ago. They did some with a laser. They cut out some of the gum and yeah. You know what? I'll tell you, when you're younger, floss more.
Yeah,
no, flossing's good.
And what they got me on this past year is the water pick. So yeah, I do that too. So, Mr. Duke,
yes, sir.
Lake Champlain as of 4 o'clock today, 96.61 feet. Water temperature up from last week. I remember it was at 41.7. Now it's at 43.0.
Is the water coming up some?
No,
I don't. Some, but it's been just pretty stable. I meant to check the lowest lake level, and I forgot. My guess is it's 92 something, but. Boy, I think we may get within a foot of it unless things start changing around.
Now, what year do you?
I have to look. I don't remember. But of course, the record. I saw some film on TV just when I got back from my trip 10 years ago. 2011, of course, was the record flooding, highest level on record, about 103.3, just about 10 years ago in May, I think.
I can still remember the big fish. I don't know what they are, carp or something, that were inside the Bay Park.
Okay.
Because they got trapped in there.
Yeah.
And that was an unusually high water year. That's for damn sure. And just goes to show you never know. Here we are 10 years later, and we're probably at a record. It's got to be a record low for May 1st or whatever it is.
It's certainly very unusually low for May 1st. Yeah, when I get back from my trip, usually, I can't go near walking on the dock. It's lake's usually around flood stage at about 100, so it's very low for this time of year.
We're though the forecast is we're getting more. The last week, 10 days, we've had quite a bit of moisture. It's the ground is really soppy now. It hasn't been that way in a while.
Right.
I got my first look at beautiful Champlain Country Club yesterday. Finally got out. Of course, it's just beautiful.
It is. It's perfect.
It was crowded there last night too, David.
It's crowded all the time.
Well, no, I'm going to.
But didn't you say already a record membership or something?
I think if you want to become a member right now, you have
there's a waiting
list.
Is there?
Yeah,
really?
There's a renaissance of golf, and it started last year due to the Wuhan virus that people were stuck at home. And the United States, Duke, last year, literally, play was up 25% across the country.
Yeah,
which is just like it was when the Tiger Woods boom.
Yeah, exactly. So now David said it's busy all the time. I went golfing Monday evening, temps were in the 40s with a strong wind. There were 3 people total on the course.
Well.
Me, my buddy Joe, and my son-in-law Kevin. Even the pro shop was locked up.
Yeah.
Okay, so nobody was there, and I was wearing long johns and sweatpants, and I'll tell you, it was a great walk in that cold weather. Yeah. So we are a mere 25 and a half hours away from the NFL draft, and I want to start out that a trade that might have gone by with people, but I use this in reference to the New England Patriots. The Broncos acquired quarterback Teddy Bridgewater today in exchange for a 6th-round pick. And Carolina has also agreed to take on $7 million of Bridgewater's $10 million contract, and the contract was also restructured to make him a free agent at the end of 2021.
A six
Right.
all?
So,
and money?
Generally speaking, I would say, okay, no big deal to me. But the talk all spring with the Patriots is getting a real starting quarterback. And,
or at least for the future. It's probably not going to be for this season.
Jimmy Garoppolo's name has been bantered around like a tennis ball. So, we've been thinking, what would New England have to send? Okay. Certainly not a 2nd-round pick.
6th-round pick.
And now that we see Bridgewater went for 6, I think Garoppolo's a little bit better than Bridgewater. The Patriots do not have a 3rd-round pick. They had to forfeit. Do you remember what scandal that was?
Hard to keep track of all the scandals.
But they do have the 1st pick.
No, I think it was the last thing, filming somebody on the sideline, even pregame.
So the Patriots do have the 1st pick of the what's that word?
Compensatory.
Thank you. After the 3rd round, so it's the 97th pick. So I'm thinking that would have been a fair trade, but then my thought process kind of changed after I saw Teddy Bridgewater went for a 6. So I'm thinking right now, maybe a 4th-round pick, and also I think Jimmy G makes about $25 million a year, and the Niners are going to have to throw some bucks in.
I'm going to tell you, I read a thing on the 49ers this week. It was Sunday, that the 49ers are done with Garoppolo. They are going to take, looks like they're going to take Mac Jones, is the big. And Garoppolo, they've already told him that he's not going to be a backup. He's done.
Well, why would they pay a backup like that? That's exactly what the Patriots ran into with Jimmy G. When people get on their case, they're going to pay Jimmy G.
The
$20 million to be on the bench.
Get Garoppolo for nothing.
Interesting.
Because
of course they didn't get much for him when they traded him. They think that after the draft by Sunday, Garoppolo will be a free agent. So the Patriots may get him for nothing if they want him.
David, if they're willing to pay his full salary, they may just do the token 7th-round pick. I feel bad for Patriot fans. On paper, with the Wuhan people coming back and with the free agency, on paper they have a decent-looking team, but in this quarterback-driven league, you saw Cam Newton last year, and I don't believe he could play any worse than he did last year, but I certainly would not go into September as your starting quarterback.
Well, it'll be interesting, but there's a lot of stuff going on, which is all making it good for the Giants, because there's a lot of things with all these quarterbacks. There could be 5 quarterbacks taken like in the first 10 picks.
Absolutely.
So that would leave some really good players available by the time the Giants get around.
Most of the mocks, they have Devontae Smith being taken. Don't want him. I've been beating the drum since January for Rashawn Slater.
That Slater is also been
okay. Let me just read.
The Giants might even trade up to get Slater.
Well,
if that's a guy they really want.
If the Patriots want a guy like Trey Lance, they can go from 15 to 8 with Carolina, who has their quarterback now, and Sam Darnold, and they could get Trey Lance at the 8th position. But getting back to the Giants, and my wanting of Rashawn Slater, the Giants' offensive line did not overall play an acceptable level at 2020. Pro Football Focus ranked their line 31st in the 32-team league. Ouch. At tackle, the Giants currently appear to be counting on second-year players Andrew Thomas at left tackle and Matt Pert at right tackle. Nate Soldier would be the swing tackle. The Giants, with 4 highly regarded tackles to pick from, chose Thomas with a 4th overall pick in 2020. He ended up playing far worse than any other of the 3 rookie tackles the Giants could have selected: Mekhi Becton, Jedrick Wills, Tristan Wirfs. Thomas, in fact, David, allowed more pressures, 57, and sacks, 10, than any tackle in the league. And again, me with the rookies, I give them a lot of rope. I'll keep all the criticisms to myself.
Of course, he had an injury, too, that we didn't know about.
So he's going to have to step up his play. The Giants' line is not.
This Slater, if they can get him, he's. Plus, I guess he can play every position. Mm-hmm. And I think he was 330 pounds, too.
Yeah.
And he can move. He's really, that would be, I'm sure Gettleman would do that first.
In this particular mock, Duke, I have the Patriots. It makes sense. Defense, Kwity Paye, the #1 edge rusher in the draft. But I was also looking at another mock.
They could use him.
I was looking at another mock today, and I don't believe this. They had Justin Fields going #3 to the Niners. If anybody drops out of the top 10, it'll be Justin Fields. And they had Mac Jones going to the Pats at 15.
I read today that one of the complaints against Fields, of course, his coach is trying to deny it, but the complaint was that he was last into practice, first out.
Okay.
And of course.
Well, who was the previous Ohio State quarterback?
Well, I think the previous Ohio State quarterback
was
Haskins.
Dwayne Haskins.
I'm not sure you should give up. You should give these guys a little slack.
Well, I'm just telling you what I read, because I don't follow them. I only read just enough so that I can talk on the show and not sound like
David, again, all these OSU quarterbacks, there isn't one starting Ohio State quarterback in the league. I don't even know if there's a backup, okay? They're literally a product of the system. Ohio State.
No, this Fields played really good last year.
Remember, did you happen to see the Clemson game?
When he
You're going to tell me this guy's no good. You should have seen the Clemson game.
And how did he play in the Alabama game?
He's erratic, but don't tell me this guy's worthless. Some people consider him the best quarterback.
In January, he was slated to be the 2nd overall pick. Now he's fallen down to #5, and I even question if he'd be a top 10.
Who won the national? Was it Ohio State or was it Clemson?
It was Alabama, right?
Alabama, right?
Sure wasn't Clemson got killed by Ohio State.
Right, Alabama.
They got killed by Ohio State.
Yeah.
And Alabama then beat Ohio State.
Yeah. That's where Devontae Smith had, 3 touchdowns during that game?
And that's how come Mac Jones has been moving up.
Well, Devontae doesn't excite me just because of his size.
Yeah. Well, they think he could get bigger. And Waddle might be there too.
Yeah. But just with the draft, any position you want. There's so many different. It changes by the day.
Oh, yeah.
So when you say you heard something, I've read a bunch of stuff too.
Duke,
take your pick.
Duke, we can talk the whole 90 minutes on the draft. But once the trading starts tomorrow night, and there will be trades, you can throw our conversation right out the window.
Now, still in Belichick, nothing he does surprise. Still wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't pick a quarterback and picks maybe that edge guy who they could kill for. Their pass rush was pathetic last year. Nothing would surprise me. And anybody who thinks they know right now what Belichick is going to do, give me a break. I bet Belichick doesn't know what he's going to do right now.
There was a lot of talk too that the Giants could even trade down, which they've never done, because they filled all their most glaring holes with the free agents.
There's rumors, David, that Chicago, that signed Andy Dalton, the aged Andy Dalton, they could trade up 20 to 11. Giants will get the 20 pick plus their #1 pick next year, along with a couple other things.
There's a lot of
And the thing about the Giants, when you're a bad team, there's a lot of needs. So there'll be a player, a very good player, number 20 for the Giants.
Okay, speaking of the draft, Trevor Lawrence, who nobody's questioning, he's number one guy going to the Jags, right? Guess who got married very close to me when I was down south? He got married in Bluffton, South Carolina, right next to Hilton Head, to, I guess, his longtime lady friend when I was down there. I didn't happen to get an invite.
Did not see that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Hawk, you going to watch? Can you break away from tax season to watch every second of the draft for about 5 days?
I will record it at 8 o'clock because there's a lot of fluff.
So sorry, did it actually start 8 o'clock tomorrow night?
Yeah,
Is it the official start?
First round tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, and the second, third round Friday night. And you have to be a real football buff to watch it Saturday. That's round 4 through 7. And that goes bang, 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 bang.
And is that it? How many rounds are we?
7.
7.
But if you remember, when we were kids, there were like literally 20 rounds.
Right.
Oh, baseball used to be 35 rounds.
Baseball's done, right. They're down to almost nothing.
And the NBA is down to what, 1 round?
2 rounds in the NBA.
2 rounds.
Yeah. So.
Wow.
Yeah. So, like I said, we can go on, but a lot of these conversations are.
Don't you agree? I mean, knowledgeable people are throwing out all kinds of stuff. I mean, isn't for whatever you want to happen, I mean, pick your guy who will tell you that's going to happen.
That is the entertainment value of mocking drafts.
What I keep saying every time of year at this time, I wish Mel Kiper, the draft guru, I'd love to see a scorecard on Mel over the years. Wouldn't that seem to be a good story?
Yeah.
He's supposed to be the draft guy. How's he done?
Yeah.
And speaking of which, we've talked about Belichick many times. Great coach, maybe the GOAT coach, but a pretty shaky GM. I saw, and it was a solid football writer, I think, went over the last 5 years, and I probably would have been close to guessing this. Belichick as GM drafting came out 25th out of 32 teams over the last 5 years.
Okay.
Well,
And then some of their second, Duke Dawson was a second rounder. A couple didn't even play. They've had, and I realize they don't have. This is the highest number they've had in years, right? 15.
Yeah.
But still, he's had the last 5 years have been pretty pathetic.
well, I think the thing though with Belichick, I bet you if you were to ask him, when you're drafting 35, when you've already lost your first round pick.
Do we have a call? Yep.
Yeah, we got a call.
Here we go. Good evening. You're on the Best Damn Sports Show in Franklin County. Hello.
Well, good evening, fellas. We got the Three Musketeers back together.
Indeed.
Hey,
Yeah, for one more night. This
Bobby,
is it.
thanks a million for your kayak
Hawk.
efforts. Really appreciate it.
Oh, anytime, Duke. My pleasure.
You're
My
more than
pleasure
kind.
for sure.
Just waiting for the lake to warm up a little bit at this
Yeah,
point.
I know. When I brought them down, it was 75 degrees.
Wow.
A week later, they had 3 inches of snow on them.
Yeah, we just need to get the lake level up. I know you kind of, I think, freaked out when you saw what the lake level was, huh?
Yeah, it's slowly making its way back, I think.
Hopefully. But thanks a bunch. Really appreciate it.
Oh, you're very welcome, as always, Duke. My pleasure. As far as the draft, the number 3 spot with the 49ers, I think they're going to get this tight end, this Pitts kid. Now, they don't really need a quarterback. I've been curious what they have against Garoppolo. He led them to the Super Bowl. He had a tough fourth quarter in that Super Bowl, but he was playing, the best team in football. And, as we know, he was injured last year, but to give up on him and grab a rookie that's never touched a football in the NFL and to think that he will be better, I mean, I'm scratching my head. I'll tell you what, though, the 49ers have played this very, very well. They kind of hinted out that they would take the quarterback from Alabama, which that guy could actually slide to the end of the first. So I have just a hunch that they will take this Pitts kid, probably, arguably, the best athlete in the draft.
Boy, if you're right about that, Bobby, you should look for a new job, because isn't every one of the draft gurus, everyone's saying they'll get, go after either Fields or whatever. Is anybody saying they won't?
You would never
grab a
draft
quarterback?
up to the number 3 position to
Right.
draft anything but a quarterback.
Right.
Pitts actually is going to go next.
Right.
Number
but I'm
4.
saying everybody is saying they'll
They've
draft a
already
quarterback.
said, the 49ers have already said that Garoppolo is
It's
gone.
gone. Yeah, I think
It's
they're going
history.
for a QB.
Yeah. And caller, you kind of answered your question. He is injury prone too.
Yeah, I think just 40% of the games. That's probably the biggest knock. But I hear you, to hang him for one bad throw in a Super Bowl that they say him so close to winning. Why people throw him out is beyond me. Also,
And you got to remember
too,
about the Niners. Kyle Shanahan is completely infatuated to himself.
Yeah.
He thinks he's the smartest football
Right.
coach. He is brilliant, and he thinks he can take a rookie quarterback like Mac Jones and make it into the
I
playoffs.
think
Mac-
they
and Mac's
like their
maybe the guy
backup
who would do
quarterback
it.
that hurt his knee better than Garoppolo.
Yeah.
and Mac's probably the guy who would do it. I mean, I think pretty much everybody says, hey, if you want a guy who's going to be good on day one, maybe not the best down the road, Mac Jones
Yeah,
with your
Shanahan
Alabama
likes the
system.
cerebral guy, and that's exactly what Jones is.
Huh.
Yeah, it should be interesting, but I would go with Garoppolo any day. He's had more good games than bad games, and being a quarterback is tough in the NFL. The kid from Clemson, he'll probably be good in time. I put him like with a Burrows kid from Cincinnati, but the other guys, you can have an argument who's best, who isn't, and when 3 years ago when we got Goff and the other guy went to Philadelphia, both of them have moved on since.
Yeah.
These early picks or quarterbacks are really a crapshoot. And I would rather go with that Pitts guy. I watched film on him. This guy is totally amazing. I mean, these quarterbacks come out every year, but this guy is a hybrid tight end, and he is totally amazing.
He's 6'6", 240,
Wow.
and they said he may be the best tight end ever coming out of college. And caller, to your point about question marks with a quarterback, I mean, other than Trevor Lawrence that played for Clemson, the number 2 pick, Zach Wilson, played for BYU in the WAC conference, which is not a hotbed of conference. Mac Jones,
BYU's had a couple of big quarterbacks.
back 20 years ago, they haven't had a real good quarterback. Justin
Steve
Fields,
Young.
that was over 20 years ago.
Yeah, he was
Is that
pretty good.
longer? Is that right?
Justin Fields, the football factory, and this Trey Lance, which a lot of folks are enamored with,
North Dakota State.
is a Division 2 or 3 school. He didn't play football last year. They're
Yeah,
just
I believe the knock on him is he's only had 300 and some odd passes in college.
Yep.
But, I mean, coaches are there to develop it.
Yep.
And you know what, though? I'm one of the few. I like this Fields kid from Ohio State. I watched him play Clemson, and he looked better than the quarterback from Clemson.
Yeah, he looked a lot better than Trevor Lawrence that game.
I watched 2 of his draft days where, you're in like an Astrodome, and God, he looked good to me. And, I'm certainly no expert, but he did look good.
And Huck, law of averages does hook in once in a while. I mean, you're right about their terrible track record. That's not to say, one of these years, one of these guys may be pretty good.
but work ethic, and David mentioned it.
That would be concerning.
Beginning of the show. I mean, to me, and I don't follow college football all that much, but I look at a Tom Brady. He doesn't wow me with his physical prowess.
Sure.
The quarterback position's all about brain power, and they don't throw the ball downfield. Rarely they ever do that. In this 40-yard dash speed, that is the most overrated thing. I mean, how many times go down 40 yards? It just doesn't happen that much. And Julian Edelman, okay? One of the best receivers in the last 10 years, was slower than molasses, but the guy could run a route and he could create separation.
Speaking of which, is he going to end up with Tampa? Will Tampa maybe take it? No way.
No,
I've heard that kicked around a little bit.
They re-signed Antonio Brown today for
did they really?
3.5.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
How about also with alignment and stuff? They do their wingspan like these guys are going to fly around the field or something.
Well, what they don't measure at the combine is the guy's heart.
Yep, it's true.
And the one thing that they can't tell is whether the guy's a football player. Some of these guys are athletes.
David, the best example I can give you, the Giants drafted 4 or 5 years ago, Evan Ingram, tight end. What a great athlete.
Yeah.
This guy can do everything except for catch.
Well, he doesn't have the grit.
Yeah.
You need, and I would be careful about taking a tight end because even the best ones, because of that position, because of their size, I think when they go downfield and they catch the ball, they get hurt a lot.
Yeah.
3-4 years is about all you're going to get out of a good one. Even Gronk, the last few years, he's been beat up pretty good.
No, over his career, Gronk probably missed a third of his games.
Look at our old buddy Bavaro, who I would say was the toughest, best tight end the Giants ever had.
Yeah.
He was a sure Hall of Famer, but injuries cut him down. And a recent guy that retired, who I thought was a great tight end, nobody will remember him, Jordan Reed from the Redskins. This guy was a fabulous player, but he was cut down by injuries.
If you play the tight end position the right way and you're a big blocker, you're going to get hurt.
Yeah.
But this Pitts is worth taking a gamble on. This guy is going to be incredible. I would draft, if I pick number 2, I would draft him. I mean, the guy looks that good.
Yeah.
Well, supposedly the quarterback the Jets are getting, he's got an arm like a Nolan Ryan.
Yeah, Zach Wilson, BYU. He's got a cannon arm, and he's a super confident kid.
So he could be good, but you never know.
And Dave, I've got the cure for your Yankees.
Probably a subject he wasn't too eager to jump into.
Hey, I'm.
No, you know what you guys are missing, Dave? Luke Boyd.
He's coming back. He's coming back the next couple days, I heard.
He will turn that whole lineup around.
And I read today or yesterday they're going to bench Sanchez.
Yeah, you got a new catcher. Right. That catcher can hit too.
Okay.
Sanchez. They thought that last year he was bad. He's hitting worse this year. He's hitting 160, and he's had it. But when all the Red Sox guys start giving me crap, I say, hey, look, I have not watched 1 second of a baseball game. I haven't listened to a baseball game.
Is that right?
Duke, or David, tell Duke.
Nor have I.
Tell Duke what you did after Rob Manfred.
I canceled my MLB subscription.
He called up and canceled
because of all the woke culture. And
tell Duke what you asked.
So I asked the guy when I was canceling it. I said, am I the only one that's doing this? He goes, no. He goes, I've done a ton today. I'll be doing a ton tomorrow.
Really?
It was too much for me. And of course, the thing is with the Yankees, I don't like the way they're built. They got too many right-handers. They got too many guys that can hit and can't field.
Not enough pitching, seemingly.
Oh, their pitching isn't the problem.
That's okay.
Kluber pitched 7 innings yesterday.
Duke, let me tell you something about the Yankees pitching. And when they're in last place, that's your assumption. The New York Yankees have the second best ERA in the American League at a stunning 3.34.
Oh, really? My apologies.
Yeah, they're hitting their defense, and the other guy who's really stunk up the joint is Torres.
Right.
And then you throw in Stanton, who's been erratic at best, and Frazier hasn't done much. There's a whole pile of them. They're all, but I don't like the way they hit. They don't. It's either a home run or an out.
The Bronx Bombers, as we sit here right now, Duke, collectively as a team, they're hitting 210.
Wow.
The Boston Red Sox are first in the league.
285 or something?
272.
272.
And Duke, if you were a 230 player, batter, you probably would think you're getting sent down to Pawtucket. You're an average player. The average batting average.
Worcester is the case.
Okay,
maybe.
Worcester. The average batting average in baseball right now is 230.
Wow,
That's
really?
terrible.
230.
It's awful.
And strikeouts, we're on the usual trend
it's
for
awful.
strikeouts.
And the games, you can't watch them. And they're doing everything they can to antagonize their best customers.
Interesting.
Well, that's what makes baseball so boring now.
Yeah. You know, and I've been thinking of you guys because I watch my Nats every night. My enjoyment level, and I'm not just doing this to jump on your bandwagon, it has gone down about 50%. And I would kill you if you ever took my baseball away from me. You did it now. It really
But again, our friend Joe said he's finished. When I asked about the Red
Joe's
Sox.
like David.
But you're hanging in with your Nats?
Because I like David's integrity.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't have that much integrity,
But Hawk, you're hanging in. Did you think about? Well, again, you do a sports show every week. It'd be a little hard to walk
But again, as we discuss every week, this ain't the baseball we grew up watching. It's a whole. And David, I think, aptly put it last week. It's a softball game.
the product they're putting out isn't good. Now, as for the woke culture, there's nobody worse than football. So anyway, so we are a little hypocritical.
Right, I meant to ask Joe when he said, forget the Red Sox here, or forget baseball. I should have said, what, are you hanging in with the Patriots, which I think he is? What about the Colin Copper? You guys went crazy about
Yes, we did.
that. So why is he hanging with, again, I realize you can't speak for him, but I said, boy, unfortunately.
I know a lot of guys are mad at the Red Sox and don't want anything to do with them because LeBron James just bought it.
Ask the caller if that meant anything to him. Caller,
Yes.
how's your good buddy LeBron James doing?
You know, he is ruining a lot of sports. Yeah, I just don't care for the guy. I think they need a mental evaluation of him. That he's burning every bridge. I mean, he's not doing the proper things for the game of sports or saying the proper things for the game of sport. He's, I really can't put it into words, but he's not a nice guy.
And he owns a percentage, Duke, of the Red Sox.
No, I don't think a big. Yeah, he's owner of the Fenway Sports Group, FSG.
Yep.
For the record, I see things. I won't bore you with my feelings, but I don't lose sleep over this stuff.
The
And I also happen to think he can easily make the case he's the best basketball player to have ever lived, which I realize is irrelevant.
Right.
Yeah,
to you.
that's I didn't tap into that part.
No,
I'm
I
just
understand.
saying him personally.
Sure, I
Dr.
understand.
J, they just had there was just a thing in the paper today. Dr. J, who we all consider a great basketball player.
Oh, I thought you meant my dentist.
I thought you meant the former
no, Dr.
former
J,
person on this.
Julius Erving.
Okay.
UMass.
Julius Erving put his all NBA teams together. His first team was maybe Kareem, Elgin Baylor, Bill Russell, blah, blah, blah. Like Larry Bird, Magic Johnson.
No LeBron.
No LeBron. And the internet crowd has been going nuts on him.
That's insane.
And what he said about LeBron, he goes, when I was playing, the owners ran the league. And LeBron has been able to go and pick his own team and get to play with whoever he wants. We never had that opportunity.
Sure.
So when you're picking all these other guys, no wonder you're winning.
Yeah.
Now, that being said,
Still a pretty good
LeBron
ball
James, I've said it before, could take the three of us and Bobby, and they'd still get in the NBA Finals.
But LeBron in the China fiasco last year
Well, all you have to do is look at the ratings.
Sure.
I think the other thing with LeBron is, let's face it, LeBron's not that bright a guy. He's a high school graduate. I'm sure he's getting prodded and pushed by the handlers and the PR and the Nike guys, and they're pushing him into all that crap.
And what did Michael Jordan say, David?
Supposedly. this quote is always supposed.
He was criticized for not taking a political stand, and I quote, supposedly, "Hey, Republicans buy sneakers too."
And LeBron is. I think LeBron has been. He's getting bad advice.
You know, the thing is, the politics, just keep it out of sports. Have your opinion, have your beliefs. This is still America. Believe what you want to believe, and everybody has that right. But to drag it onto the court, onto the baseball field, the football field, that's where I have trouble.
Exactly.
It's ruining it. Every sport is down. It's going down. I mean, the direction they're going is not good.
Caller, that expression, just shut up and dribble, says it all.
Perfect.
You know what I tell everybody? If I want a sermon, I'll get it from Mass on Sunday.
Yep.
All I want for my sports is to be entertained with the sport.
Yep.
And
yeah, that's all anybody wants.
No.
But you realize you've lost, like I said, the horse is long out of the barn, and it's getting worse from your point of view by the day. Isn't it?
Like the caller just said,
you don't actually think
ratings
it could go back to being all sports, do you?
Yeah, ratings
you hope that, but forget it, it's gone.
Well, if they're smart, and you know what, eventually,
I suppose money might talk.
Yes, it does.
Maybe it's going to take a good long while.
There's always a snapback.
Yeah,
well, your sponsors will start backing out.
While your big corporations, though, Bob, are tied right in with that crowd. They can't. They're falling all over themselves to be in with that bunch. Because none of them want to be labeled racist or Marxist or sexist or whatever the ism is of the day, and they're falling. I'll give you an example. General Motors, who sells a pile of stuff and almost none to the eco warriors. All right, our best-selling stuff is heavy-duty pickup trucks and Yukons and SUVs. And even though we have some stuff that gets decent mileage, we don't handle the Prius. We aren't in the Prius crowd. But to listen to them talk, that's who they're basing all their advertising. That's where they're doing all their stuff. And it seems to me to be so counterintuitive.
So GM is doing that?
Oh, terrible, really? Terrible.
Although they are going all electric by 2035.
They're pushing out electric. They're pushing out electric, which I'm okay with that. I mean, if the market's there, go ahead and do it. But the whole rest of the thing, I had to do three survey. They do these tests every quarter that you have to do, and diversity, inclusion, and equality. And I'm thinking to myself, and they're showing a few things, and I'm thinking, you know what? As a car dealer, if we're smart, the only color we ever see is green.
That's right.
We don't care, and they don't want you to judge a book by its cover and all that. We've never judged a book by its cover. When you live in Vermont and you get some guy coming in and he's got work boots on and he looks like hell, he could be a millionaire. Really? And if you're smart, but that's the stuff that really offends me so much. I don't need them telling me how to do that. And they were talking. Some guy they used some example of some Hispanic guy at work. The service manager was giving him a hard time because his English isn't that good. Let me tell you something. If we got a mechanic who can work, we don't care what language he's speaking because you can't find him. Right. It's so hard to get help right now. It's unbelievable.
Well, I'm glad the state finally, they probably should have done it months ago. I told Hawk on the course, they finally took off the waiver of the work search required, so that's coming. Hopefully that'll get a few more bodies out there looking for jobs.
They're saying that up until this thing. They're getting paid, guys are getting paid about between $20 to $25 an hour to stay home.
Why there's talk about legislature wasting, and maybe that's a little strong, but the $15 minimum wage, I think the market's going to probably deal with that. I think they could maybe be dealing with other stuff.
So,
I got to say hello, goodbye to the caller. Anything else, caller? Hello?
No, that's it, guys, and have a happy draft night tomorrow night, and I hope you guys get who you wish for.
I appreciate that. Good night.
Hey, thanks a lot. Thanks again.
Duke touched on that. I didn't realize that you didn't have to look for work. And I told Duke.
For years, you had to.
Right. I didn't realize, but I told Duke had a client a few days ago, just started work at Husky, which is a really good company. They pay really well down there.
Good benefits.
Yep, really solid company.
Oh, yeah,
he told me, and I'm thinking, you got to be kidding me, that they have 15 open positions down there that they cannot fill.
Oh, I think they have tons of company.
Oh.
Here we go. I'm seeing. Here we go.
Yeah, here we go. Good evening. You're on the best damn sports show in Franklin County. Hello.
Yes, hello. I'm just coming on board. I always like to call before the draft. You've probably already discussed it, but I'm David and Nighthawk. What position do you think the Giants are going to draft at 11? What position?
Unfortunately, Leonard, I think the Giants are going to draft a receiver. I'm a huge Rashawn Slater guy, and I wouldn't mind moving up to get Penny Sewell, tackle out of Oregon. But I think Devontae Smith is going to be the pick. I hope not.
Or Waddle, whoever's there.
Waddle will go
Waddle over Smith.
Waddle because of Smith's limited physical stature.
Well, Waddle's better yards after the catch too.
I think of the Giants, it's all up in the air. It all depends on how it goes, because we talked about this. With all these quarterbacks going early, it means that a lot of these better players will be available to the Giants. So they should be able to get a good player.
Oh, they will. I will. But I think unless Penny Sewells of the world are still on the board, I think they'll go after a receiver if one of those two Alabama products are on the board.
Yeah.
Is Sewell? Is he going to go ahead of Slater?
Yeah, Penny Sewell.
If you get a good offensive lineman,
well,
if you get a good one,
Penny Sewell,
you can pick up a pretty good receiver in the second round. There's a lot of receivers.
Because I think Sewell, Len, will go like the 5th spot to the Bengals. I think Rashawn Slater could be available for the Giants. And again, I mentioned on the show, Pro Football Focus had the Giants' offensive line ranked 31 out of 32 teams, and I saw every play, and that's pretty much what I saw.
No place to go but up. No place to go but up.
Yeah.
How are your Braves doing, Leonard?
Well, we're like a half or a game out. We're not even playing well. There's the Mets who are concerned all of a sudden. They're $350 million man there. He's hitting about 220, but hell, the league's only hitting about 230. The entire MLB is hitting about 230.
The Mets didn't sign him, did they?
Yeah, Lindor is hitting.
Did they sign him?
Yeah, to about, like Len said, about 350.
They did sign him.
And he's not even hitting his weight. And what
do you make of the lack of hitting? What do you make of it here early?
I have a theory. I'm not saying I'm right, but wasn't all that many years ago, Leonard, maybe 20, if a guy could touch 90 miles an hour on the guns, he was a flamethrower. Now we've got guys throwing 100 miles an hour. I don't know
and also not necessarily straight fastballs. I heard somebody talking, maybe Buster Olney was talking about that today. Not only flamethrowers, but with a lot of spin, with movement on those balls.
And, of course, we discussed on the show last week, there's a minor league, I'm not sure which league, that's going to experiment with putting the pitcher's mound back 1 foot to 61 feet and 6 inches. So you could see changes coming in baseball.
Well, I don't think you're going to ever see that at the major league level. You'll never see that.
Well, Len, I would have agreed with you before the season started, but here we are close to May, and Major League Baseball literally is hitting 230 as an average. And
we're a month into the season.
And Len, to say that you're hitting 230, and I say Leonard Parent's an average hitter at 230. 20 years ago, you'd be down in Gwinnett trying to learn how to hit.
Well,
yeah,
I think
there's some other rules. What was I still one that I'd like to see the new contract have, and I'm very strong on this. I want to do away with the shift. You got to keep two infielders on each side of the bag. I think that's one way to help things out.
I hate to get into stuff like that.
Leonard, right. It's a slippery slope. I watched the Nat game last night. Boy, we're horrible. And we had the shift on, and the batter, wow, brilliant. He bunted down third base.
Really?
How many do that, though?
Not many.
Not many,
Right, not many. And our question is, why? Why don't they?
Oh, well.
Maybe one of these years.
They figure the money's not on bunting, but it's a hit. But, that would take care of the shift if everybody did it, obviously.
Yep. The shift has ruined – the shift has made ground balls about 40 or 50 points lower for batting average. Before the shift, guys that were hitting ground balls hit 40 to 50% higher. Yeah. Now with the shift, because they know where the guy's hitting it. So the ground balls are really almost automatic outs now.
David, but what an indictment of the hitters, as we talk about these hitters.
Oh, well, they're all taught
how hard is it to go the other way or bunt?
They're taught to swing up to uppercut. So they're all striking out, and when they do hit a grounder, they hit it into the shift. So it makes for no hits.
Of course, you got analytics, which you didn't have 20. You didn't even have probably 15 years ago to the point you have it today. They know every hitter's hot zone, and it's just a law of averages. I mean, where do you pitch him, and where does he hit it? Yeah. And they have that right in front of them. So I that's the first thing I would do if I was commissioner. I'd get rid of the shift.
I would too.
Really, I hate. Yeah. And what about extra innings? A runner on second base?
I don't like that either.
Oh, I don't like that. Don't like that at all.
Like that.
Now, Leonard, one new rule in the collective bargaining agreement this winter that will come up is the universal designated hitter, where you can use the designated hitter as long as your starting pitcher is in. Once your starter is out, then the pitcher has to hit in the designated hitter position.
Is that both leagues?
Both leagues.
Really?
Yeah. In that way,
sorry, run that by me again.
Okay, I will run that. Okay. The designated hitter will start the game and will be in the game as long as your starting pitcher is in. Now, us National League people that like the no designated hitter because of strategy at the end of the game, if you're going 6 innings and you're out of the game as a starting pitcher, all of a sudden the pitcher's in the game.
Really?
And that's when the double switching will occur and all that stuff. So you'll have some strategy at the end of the ball game.
Like I'm a rare American League guy.
I can't see that ever going in the American League, though. Because can you imagine if the Red Sox would have had to take out Big Papi over the last 15 years?
Yeah.
Because the starting pitcher only went 2 innings? Yeah. You'd have to take out David Ortiz? I don't think so.
MLB players will never go with that. That's never would happen. You're not ever going to see that.
Yeah, that seems hard to believe.
Why do you want pitchers in Major League Baseball hitting when they don't hit at AAA?
Well, because of the strategy,
even in the National League, they don't hit at AAA.
But because it makes managers work a little bit, and it makes managers worth something.
Richard, but they're not training them to hit. They're not hitting at AAA or AA.
That's fine, but it still injects some strategy into the game, which you sure as heck don't typically have in the American League.
I tell you what, most of the pitchers in the National League will hit. It doesn't take a hell of a lot of strategy.
Yeah.
You pitch to them and you get them out.
But Leonard, 2 points.
No, but we're talking the double switches and stuff. You don't have anything like that in the American League.
2 points. Your wife, Diane, could manage an American League baseball team. There's really little effort. Fill in the scorecard. Number 2, who is the best athlete on the baseball team in high school? It's always the pitcher. Okay.
Who plays short when he's not pitching.
Thank you, Len. And they're also a good hitter. I think part of the problem with baseball is they give up on the pitchers on how to hit. okay?
Wait, how about making him hit? Let's go back and, have
Like
him
Shoney
hit in the minors.
Tony or whatever his name is.
From
There's
the
a pitcher who can hit.
Yep.
Guess who pinch hit the other night in one of the great Dodger-Padres game? You had Clayton Kershaw pinch hitting in extra innings. He struck out. First time he had ever faced probably a lefty specialist. He's a good hitting pitcher. But I don't have a problem with that.
Baseball is the only thing that's going to save baseball in America are the Latin fans, ultimately, and the Latin players. They're going to save baseball because young white children, they don't watch baseball. They don't. My son coaches a 9-year-old team. He says he's got one player that's ever watched a game on TV.
Wow.
They're with their tablets and things. I mean, that's just the reality of it. Yeah. I mean, the Hispanic fans and players will ultimately save Major League Baseball in America. That's
but Leonard, baseball could die because if you look back in 1950, the two most popular sports in this country, number one was boxing, number two was horse racing.
Baseball was number 3 then?
I think so. Times change, and baseball for the younger generation, it's a very slow, methodical, cerebral game where everything today is instant gratification. I can see baseball dying in 20 years.
Yeah, I guess that's not a crazy thought.
No, I hear you. I hear you. It's going to be hard to, come up with large fan bases because, this is what's happening now from the 20-year-old crowd down.
Yep.
I mean, you're not going to pull many baseball fans out of that demographic.
Exactly. And Leonard, back when we were kids, we'd watch a baseball game in 2 hours and 18 minutes. Now it's 3 hours and 18 minutes. Well, keep the batters in the batter's box. They were supposed to do that. They didn't do a thing about that. Yep.
I mean, they're out of the batter's box adjusting their gloves on every pitch.
Yep.
Do away with that.
Yep.
Well, when was the last time they have the games? The games start too late, and the playoffs, which are the best games, they start at 8 or 9 o'clock.
Yep.
No school kid can watch a high school can watch a baseball game, not until they're in high school.
Yep.
Well, I'll tell you what, it doesn't make any difference, David. Not many want them.
No. Well, it's an
Not
ugly.
many want them.
What they're putting on the field is an ugly product. But I'll tell you what.
The only way you get baseball players today is if, the parents live and breathe baseball and they teach their kids that. But even then, you can't overcome the computer age, the tablet age, the texting age.
Yep.
They won't sit and watch ball games.
Well, the other thing,
watch ball games.
Leonard, the other thing with youth sports, where the youth player finally becomes good, it's not in all of the organized leagues with the parents hovering over them. How guys got good. John LeClair didn't become a good hockey player. John LeClair got to be a good hockey player by playing in a rink after school and shooting pucks in the driveway. And when we were kids, we all used to play baseball. We could get 4, 5, or 6 guys, and you could have a baseball game. You think, even my kid who played baseball, I never saw once any of my kids get together with any of their friends and let's go over to Houghton Park and play baseball. Never happens.
My kid could care less about sports, and his father, I think, kind of likes sports. My kid could care less about any sports.
They don't care. They don't even know.
It's a different age. There's too much to, their brain is bombarded by so much more than ours was.
Well, I think Hawk is right. Sports can really lose their crowd. I'll give you another example of a sport that was riding high and wide 20 years ago was NASCAR. NASCAR was every race was a sellout. You couldn't get tickets. Now nobody's watching it.
You're not blaming that, are you, on an infusion of politics, or is that?
No, NASCAR I'm not blaming on politics. NASCAR I'm blaming because the product got boring. but the cars stopped. The cars weren't what you call racy, and it's like watching a car go around. How much fun is it to watch a car drive on the interstate? At least the Formula One and the Indy cars, they pass and there's action.
Speaking of which, Montreal Grand Prix was canceled today for this summer.
Yeah, I listened to CJAD. They had quite a discussion about that.
Yeah.
Well, Montreal, Canada's a mess.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
I guess Jim Douglas, I guess there's finally some serious talk. I saw Jean Charest, the former Quebec premier, decent guy. I guess he and Jim Douglas, our former governor, they're among some folks on both sides of the border trying to come up with some plan for reopening the border at some point.
But Duke, you can't cross province to province.
No, in fact, I think the Quebec-Ontario border, I think they just shut that down.
It's shut down because
recently.
I watch a cruise show every night. The guy lives outside Ottawa, 4 miles from the Quebec border. He says he can't even get into Quebec.
Yeah,
Let me tell you how my daughter-in-law's
Oh,
parents are going to come to see her this summer.
Wow. What, fly to Boston or something? Really?
And then they're going to go pick them up down there.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
And then what they'll do is after they're here for their 2 weeks, drive them to the border and have somebody come pick them up when they walk across the border like they're going across the bridge, the Remagen Bridge in Berlin.
Yeah.
Well, Canada is always in the top 3 places to live in the world. I mean, it has a great reputation. I do not know why they cannot get more vaccine. They just don't have enough vaccine, number one.
Didn't I hear? I think I heard today that just 1% of Canadians have had both 2 shots or something.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I mean, that's a modern country. As I said, it's one of the top 3 places to live in the world, and I don't get it. Australia obviously is one of the top 3 places to live in the world. They've got plenty of doses.
Israel seems to be doing probably as good as anybody.
Vaccinated everybody. They don't even have it anymore.
Yeah.
Well, Israel's trying to vaccinate a state. I mean, that's a hell of a lot easier than going. I really.
The real problem in Canada is their socialized medicine had everything was at 100% utilization before the COVID hit. If you wanted to get something, it was months to get in. To get to see a doctor, and I don't know if I told I might have told Hawk last week. I had a customer, or not a customer, but a good friend of ours, who was up in Canada, broke his leg up there, older fella. He was in the hallway on a cot for 2 days. Finally, called home, and they sent an ambulance up there to go pick him up, so that they could take care of him.
Wow.
That's how bad their health care is right now. It's just awful.
Wow.
Well, you think that's bad? The pandemic has exposed their nursing homes. They found that their nursing homes were squalid, basically.
Oh, it's too much socialization up there. That's the problem.
Well, you want to get used to it because social democratic governments. You're going to see more of them, not less of them.
Well, maybe not.
Europe doesn't seem to be going that way.
Socially democratic countries aren't Venezuela, not Cuba. We're not talking those kind of countries. We're talking the Germanys of the world, the Swedens of the world. They're socially democratic countries, and they're great places. They're great places.
Well, there's...
Great places.
Leonard, you're on top of Germany. Boy, Angela's almost out of there, correct?
She is, yes.
Wow.
And they can't get a handle. They're the richest country in the European Union, and they can't get a handle on COVID. They're still in a tight lockdown, and they don't have enough vaccine.
Wow.
So I don't know if it was just money, not enough money to get it.
Hey, I don't want to cause a problem, but I'd like to hear somebody give Donald J. Trump credit for us having enough vaccine, because whether you like the guy or whether you hate the guy, he deserves the credit for getting us, because we are way ahead of most countries with the vaccine.
I certainly agree that he deserves some. I'm not sure how much. He deserves some credit.
Operation Warp Speed.
Because you know what? And it would be nice if somebody said, you know what, Trump was so-and-so, but he got us on the ball to get a vaccine in less than a year to handle this thing and have a 95% efficiency rating. That's pretty good. Yeah. That was
David,
well done.
What other country in the world do you think would have done that?
None. And they haven't.
So I think whoever pretty much was in the White House at that time would have done that. So
no way.
I'll give Trump credit on that.
No way.
I think so too, but I think he does deserve some credit. I think Biden would have been smarter.
He deserves credit.
Had Biden somehow given him a little credit anyway.
Yeah, no, he should get credit for the vaccine.
You know. But anyway, but okay, I always look forward to draft night, and we'll let you go, gentlemen, and enjoy the rest of your show.
Thanks, Len.
Thanks, Len. Thanks for calling.
Yep. Bye-bye.
I'm watching Bill O'Reilly yesterday, one of the...
And how? What's he on? Like podcast or something?
Podcast. I pay my yearly subscription. and
old friend Bill O'Reilly.
One of the question was about Operation Warp Speed is why President Joe Biden doesn't give him credit. And he says because his crowd would go absolutely bonkers if Joe gave him any credit.
And that's accurate. Another reason might be that Trump still says he won the election by a landslide. I'd say Biden's got some pretty good reasons not to, but I agree. Yeah. Trump does deserve some credit.
Yeah, I am here to make a prediction, though. The Republicans will get the Senate and the House in 2022. I'm not giving a night-hawk guarantee, but I'm close.
Well, I guess we should. I would make the point that Republicans basically handed the Democrats the 2 Georgia Senate seats.
They did.
They basically, with some of those people saying, hey, elections are frauds, don't vote. So, just for the record, Republicans blew not having control of the Senate right now. Yeah. Don't say the Democrats did it. Republicans.
Oh, they got fleeced. They got only themselves to blame.
Hey, don't vote.
Only themselves to blame.
So, Duke, I ripped this piece off the computer the other night. Thought of you. You asked a question a couple weeks ago. Is Anthony Lamb still on the Houston Rockets?
Yeah, we came up.
And, of course, former UVM, graduated a couple years ago. Anthony Lamb came off the bench for 31 minutes and hit 8 of 14 shots and 4 3-pointers for career high 21 points, 1 rebound and 1 assist in Saturday's loss to Denver. The Rockets were missing John Wall, Christian Wood, Daniel House, DJ Augustine, Kevin Porter Jr., and Avery Bradley tonight and played just 7 players.
Wow.
Lamb was able to go off in this one, at least as far as scoring goes, but it'll be very hard to trust going forward. You probably can find him, blah, blah, blah. So
he had one great game anyway.
And Duke, and I know we don't talk much basketball here, but I continue to watch the Celtics.
Well, what about I happened to hear Kendrick Perkins. He was blasting.
And you don't know what pain is. Now, Duke, I want to correct you strongly, and I agreed with you. About a month ago, you said, Hawk, would you say that Celtics are a second-tier team?
Boy, was that too kind?
Duke, you hit the nail on the head.
Third tier?
Well, I'm kind of going 4th tier. Now, listen to this. They played Oklahoma City last night, okay, on a 14-game losing streak. Yeah. Played Philly the night before, lost by 31 points.
Oklahoma City did. So they were back-to-back games.
Right, back-to-back on the back end. The average age of their starting lineup last night was 20.
Was 20?
You mean Oklahoma?
Yes, Oklahoma. Right. Keep in mind that Baylor Bears, the college national championship,
had an older team.
Had an average age of 22. All right, so their average age was 20, which included 2 19-year-olds in the starting 5, okay? And we lost to them last night by like 9 points.
I think it ended up 119-115, but it wasn't that.
It wasn't that close. But just unbelievable.
I watched some. I didn't see the game, but I caught some of the post game. Kendrick Perkins just totally ripped him.
Let me tell you something, Duke. about this team. And there are a lot of people, apparently, that watch the show because I'm getting support now about trading Jaylen Brown. I'm reading a lot on the internet from the pundits about they need to change the structure of this team, and Jaylen Brown's probably the guy they can trade and get something for. Dude, they have horrible team defense. They shoot too many three-pointers. They don't pass the ball. Marcus Smart, tonight, they're playing a big game against Charlotte. He threatened a ref last night. And
threatened a ref?
Threatened a ref. He's got a one-game suspension for that. Kemba Walker, the Celtics got fleeced when they traded Terry Rozier to the Hornets.
Wait, Terry Rozier's been doing pretty good.
Very good player.
Charlotte, huh?
And we got a crippled Kemba Walker who's out again with another
He did have
injury.
one good game a week ago, but just once in a while has a good game.
And that doesn't even count the other guy they gave him, the forward.
And plus they got
the white guy.
Gordon Hayward.
Hayward, yeah.
So this has been no. I don't mind a losing team because before the season I have a pretty good feel what my team's going to do. Okay, they're horrible.
Is the coach losing?
Might be?
Has he lost the locker room?
I mean, you're on top of this, but I'm hearing that from the like Felger and Holly and stuff that there's more rumblings that Stevens maybe has lost these guys.
Brad Stevens missed the boat last week or 2 weeks ago when he didn't take the Indiana job. Don't know if he was offered, but it was reported last week that Indiana was ready to give him a $10 million a year for the next 7 years, $70 million. Maybe he didn't want to go back to Indiana, the pressure of Indiana. I would have thought when North Carolina's coach.
Roy's former coach, Coach Smith?
Coach Smith. I thought
Roy Williams.
Roy Williams.
You're thinking of Dean Smith.
I got Roy right here.
And I thought that would have been a perfect location for Brad Stevens to go. I mean, North Carolina is the mecca of college basketball.
No, in Indiana.
Indiana is
high school wise.
No. College basketball, it's North Carolina.
Okay. Yeah.
High school basketball, it's Indiana.
Right, but Indiana's huge for basketball.
Big.
And the other thing, too, about the Celtics, and I need to get their draft picks for the last half a dozen years. And I love Danny Ainge, but he's done a Bill Belichick as far as drafting.
But Tatum and
Duke, your kid could have drafted Tatum.
Right, but I'm just saying, for the record, they were Tatum and Jaylen Brown were pretty good
number
draft
2 and
picks,
number
right?
3 pick.
So that doesn't
no genius.
So you're just talking lower picks.
And this guy they picked this year. I
don't even know there for who's
Aaron Nesmith.
Has he
from
playing?
Vanderbilt?
Is he playing at all?
Jay Billis, who I respect, former Dookie, ESPN basketball analyst,
pretty good basketball player himself.
And I quote, he's the best shooter coming out of college. And I said, fine, that's just exactly what we need.
Have we seen this guy?
Oh, he plays. He's been terrible. We picked up...
for the record, Pritchard's has been decent at times, right?
He scored 28 points last night because Kemba wasn't playing. We picked up former Dookie last week, Jabari Parker. Number 2 pick overall 6 years ago. Andrew Wiggins was picked before him, number 2. Complete flop. This is his 6th team he's playing on.
Wow.
And this is the thing I don't know. A lot of knocks on this guy, but he plays no defense. So I'm thinking, and I truly don't know the answer, and I'm not being sarcastic. These guys are such great athletes. Can't you teach them how to play defense?
Yeah, you think?
Well, defense requires intestinal fortitude.
You're right. And do you remember Paul Silas?
No, I love
great player.
Talk about one of my favorite, incredible offensive rebounder, tough guy.
I remember an interview.
I love Paul Silas.
Nearly 50 years ago. Paul, you seem to do a great job on the offensive boards. What makes you any different than the other ball players? And he said, it's all hard. You want to go in there and get dirty and do it.
Talk about one of my favorite Celtics. I love Paul Silas.
And I'll tell you what, the kid from Atlanta Hawks, Trey...
Not Trey Young.
And I can't remember his name. This guy... can
incredible score, right?
3-pointer from half court. But you got to watch the game to watch him play defense. He literally will stand there with his hands on the side. puts zero effort into it. And if people complain about the NBA not playing defense, but it just kills me, Duke. And Jason Tatum, great shooter, he's a ball hog. You know, he does not make the people around him better. This team is a complete disarray, and I was in such disgust after the game. I didn't watch Perkins after the game.
Well, here's some of what Kendrick said, and I can understand why you didn't. Most embarrassing loss of the season. Didn't play hard. No sense of urgency. A piece of humble pie. He just totally ripped him.
You know another guy who would fit that bill? Dennis Rodman. Another guy who did all the dirty work.
Love him or hate him, but what a tough player.
Dirtiest of dirty work, hard rebounder.
David, that's a great guy to throw in.
Great guy.
Yes.
He might have averaged 8 points in his career, but did all the dirty
that's a great player to throw
in.
Thank you.
I think Mr. Jordan would acknowledge that he'd probably have a few less championships without Dennis having done
off the deep end. He would have.
Of course, you're referring to our former ambassador to North Korea, of course. Maybe we should throw him back over there these days.
So, Duke, a couple things.
What a guy, but tough player.
Tough player, but.
Duke, I talked a lot about the young phenom, Bobby Dahlback of the Red Sox.
Who finally got his first homer last night.
And, of course, he kept bringing the strikeouts up. So you kind of piqued my curiosity.
Remind me to talk about Franchi. What's Franchi's last
Cordero.
name? How about 23 strikeouts in his first 49 Red Sox at-bats?
So I'll start with Franchi Cordero. That's the guy I believe they got from the Royals for Andrew Benintendi. I could be mistaken.
I don't know.
I guess
so
guy
he's played
means
18 games, 46 at-bats, 24 strikeouts.
I was a little off.
That's more than
good.
50%.
Yeah, that's impressive.
And Bobby Dahlback, who, if you would have asked me before the season, I would have put $1,000 down and told you, don't worry, Duke, he's going to get a 30 home runs.
And I would have told you, with 200 strikeouts if he's playing every day.
So he's got 61 at-bats. He's got 22 strikeouts in 19 games.
And one homer.
So
I'm sorry. I can't stand that
baseball.
You think I can get into a player like that? You're crazy. And let me say about. I was paying no attention. I was into golf when I was down south, but I've gotten into the Red Sox a bit coming back. But I was watching a game about a week ago. He's left fielder, and whoever was pitching had a no-hitter through 6 innings, and in the 7th inning, looked like a kind of a regular line drive to left field. Franchi's playing looked like about 20 feet past the shortstop. Looked like a play that should have easily been made. The ball goes over his head, costing the pitcher at that point the no-hitter, and also cost him the game. He screwed up a couple times in left field.
Yeah, he was a hot prospect for the Padres about 4 years ago.
Didn't the Red Sox have him originally? Did he go there?
Boy, I don't think so.
Will Myers, or was he part of that?
I don't think so.
Dahlback.
But another top guy, Mr. Arroyo, though, who was a hot guy a few years ago, did Kansas City give up on him? I got the right name? I'm just getting to know the Red Sox a little bit. But Mr. Arroyo, I think he's playing some pretty good ball. But talk about a team I don't even know. But I'm paying some attention. And the Red Sox seem to be doing okay. Now, finally, is it Garrett Richards? This guy had been, he finally pitched a good game, and he needed to. He had pitched 4, I think, lousy, wild games, and he pitched a good game last night.
The Yankees had the same thing yesterday with Corey Kluber.
Is that right?
I think he pitched 7 innings.
I think the Sox are dealing with Mr. DeGrom tonight in New York. Good luck.
Jesus Christ couldn't outpitch Jay.
God,
we played him last week, and he's
right now. He's on fire.
Yeah, I think the Red Sox are dealing with him tonight, right now.
Of the Yankees,
Sanchez,
Gary Sanchez. So his rookie year, he comes up, and I'm watching him, and he doesn't hit any 400-foot home runs. They're all like 440, and I'm watching, and I go, oh my God, I'm watching this rookie. In 20 years from now, the Sanchez kid's going to be in the Hall of Fame. And if I were the Yankees, I would just cut loose.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what it is.
What are they paying? But
$5 million this year.
No, $5 million.
Right, and he's still.
They figured that last year might have been an aberration, but it's not. He's had it. All right. Torres. See, they had the makings of a pretty good team for a little bit, but their window's closing.
Huh.
And they thought Giancarlo Stanton would be the last piece. He's turned into a piece of crap.
And Aaron Judge, you can't,
Judge,
missing.
you can't keep him on the field.
Can't keep him on the
Judge
field.
is actually, he's been playing pretty good.
Right. But again, injury prone.
But this Torres, they've got a lot of stock in him. He's a lousy fielder, and he's not hitting very good. The only good players they've got, to me, are LeMahieu and Judge, and they're not well balanced. They're a mess.
And again, no less, Hawk noted. I mean, we're talking Yankee Stadium. You might want to have a few left-handed.
They don't have any lefties. They're the only lefty they got is Gardner.
That's unbelievable.
Cashman really screwed this team up, and it's not like they're on. He's shopping at Walmart.
Yeah, right.
They're over 200. They're over $200 million.
Yeah.
So, Duke, I was pretty excited for this baseball season. General Manager Mike Rizzo of the Nats, I thought, had a good year.
Yeah.
We signed Kyle Schwarber, ex of the Cubs, 1 year, $10 million. As I sit here, he's hitting 196, 1 home run, 3 RBIs.
Wow.
We traded for slugger Josh Bell of the Pirates. I sit here before you, he's hitting 109, 1 home run, 3.
109?
109, 1 home run, 3 RBIs.
Andrew Benintendi last season could relate.
How's
How's
I
Benny?
meant to check tonight.
I haven't even
Duke, I want to
noticed.
give you some stats I told David last week.
Yeah.
Steven Strasburg. I want to repeat these stats. Okay. He's
Great pitcher if you can keep him in the game.
Duke, he's
227 Benintendi.
Oh, is that right?
220.
Way above last
Duke,
year.
227. He's an average hitter.
He's an average hitter.
Yeah. So Strasburg, 112 and 60, a 651 winning percentage. I bet only Kershaw probably can beat that. ERA of 3.21.
Yeah.
Fourth
decent.
best of active pitchers.
Oh, is that right?
WHIP of 1.09.
Good.
Great stats,
Good.
right?
Yeah.
And he's on the DL again, 13th time.
13th
time. Now, keep in mind, he pitched 5 innings last year. The first year of his $35 million a year contract. Pitched 5 innings, went out with carpal tunnel.
Wow.
You name me another baseball player in the history of the game that ever missed because of carpal tunnel.
Boy, that hurts. So Hawk, you're hanging with your Nats, but boy, not like the old days.
Well, I told somebody today, as a matter of fact, I love the Washington Nationals.
Yeah.
And he asked me, will Montreal get a team? Of course, I told him. He is a few years older than me. Yes, I guarantee you, before we die, there'll be a team in Montreal.
Hopefully Ben Volen would agree with you.
Hopefully I have a long life. And again, remember, the second largest city in North America, except for Mexico City, but you would never put a team in Mexico without a major league franchise.
Interesting.
So,
well, you're a young guy. But I'm telling you, that's not happening. I hope I'm wrong, obviously, but I don't even think about it.
Well,
hope I'm wrong.
Wait, I have to do a Nighthawk guarantee here. I am doing a Nighthawk
you of some of your former
guarantee
guarantees
that there will be a major league franchise in the city of Montreal by the year 2030.
So what do you think, before UVM football comes back?
By 2030, Montreal will have a baseball team.
Hope you're right.
Well, as long as Tampa keeps screwing around with them. Now,
that's such a
should
obvious,
Tampa
great
ever
thing.
get their stadium situation?
But I don't think anything's going on with that right now. Is there?
What's funny to me, when coming off this Wuhan crap, you only can have 10,000 fans in the game. Well, I'm thinking about Tampa. They would love to have 10,000 people.
10,000, that's a normal number.
They average like 8,500 a game.
Right, for those guys in the Marlins.
Yeah.
This is anything we'll argue about, but I wake up to VMT, and I get our friend Rich Haskell. Great job on many fronts.
We had a nice chat with him a couple years ago.
Yeah, great guy. But he's just doing kind of headline short stories. But I love this, and this is just AP probably. This isn't probably out of his mouth, but I love this with a lot of news about the census. And what about New York? Talk about it, amazing. Apparently, had they counted 89 fewer people in New York would have lost a second congressional district. By 89 people, they're just going to lose one. But I love this. I think it was from Rich, but whatever. And Vermont, at least for the next 10 years, will stick with just having one congressperson. I'm going, yeah, but at least for the next 10 years, you could probably very safely say for the next couple thousand years.
Yeah, because we can't get less than one.
You can't get less than one, but, to get more than one, the state's population, I realize it supposedly went up 2.8%, would have to double. Can you punch that up?
Duke.
My guess is an average size of a congressional district, I'm guessing, is about 700,000, not too far off from Vermont's population. So yeah, if Vermont's going to have a second congressperson, they're going to have to at least increase the size of the state by 50 to 75%.
How many people in the United States?
331 mil.
331.
Oh, okay. Divided by 435. Thank you. That's an easy way to get at it. Why didn't I think of that?
760,000.
No, not a bad guess. But so I love that. At least for the next 10 years. Yeah, I think you can go a lot more than 10 years.
And of course, we are the second least populated state in the country.
Topped or bottomed only by?
Wyoming?
Wyoming is correct.
I was behind a car near your place yesterday with a Wyoming plate.
Really?
With a cowboy. It's a great license plate.
And I'm curious.
I spent a college summer in
How close
Casper,
is Wyoming? Their population must be close to ours.
It's close, but it's less.
I don't know. Check your tweet.
I bet it's
What is the current population of Wyoming?
525,000. It's less than Vermont.
586,107.
Okay.
Vermont's supposedly up to now 643.
Is that what it is?
What?
now?
the
Yeah,
current
but I mean,
population
but I
of
love
Vermont?
that. Vermont's not getting a second congressional district in many
626.
lifetimes.
They have 620, but
That was 2000.
But you know who's getting another district? It's funny. Montana's gone back and forth because I read a story a
Montana's
while
getting another
ago
one?
who made a reference to a former Montana congressman from their second congressional district. I said, second congressional district? They just have one. But they used to have two, and they're getting a second one back.
Texas
with the
is picking
census.
up a couple.
Yeah, California losing one for the first time ever.
Florida's picking up a couple.
Yeah, Oregon.
There's what, seven moving around now.
Oregon's picking up one. Michigan's losing one. Pennsylvania.
Ohio's missing one,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, it's kind of what you'd guess.
So
but I love that reference to Vermont. Yep, I don't think we're getting another congressperson for a while.
the Vermont Lake Monsters are excited to announce its 60-game schedule
Yeah, I've heard
for their
that.
inaugural season in the Futures Collegiate Baseball League, beginning with the first of 38 games at historic Centennial Field on Wednesday, May 26, against the FCBL defending champ Nashua Silver Knights. Now, keep in mind, these were minor leaguers you had. Now you're just watching college.
So these are just what, good top college players, apparently?
Hoping to get drafted. They're good college players. That's
I
probably a good way of
I
putting
think
it.
it'll still be. I mean, especially with our feelings about Major League Baseball, I think it'd still be fun to catch those guys.
The Lake Monsters will join the Norwich Sea Unicorns, formerly the New York Penn League Division foe Connecticut Tigers in the first season, along with the returnees, the Brockton Sox, Nashua Silver Knights, New Britain Bees, Pittsfield Suns, Westfield, wherever that is, Massachusetts,
Westfield,
Starfires, and Worcester Bravehearts.
Wow, so Worcester's got a team.
So I will-
Good info.
I will tell you, that's the schedule.
I'm glad. No, thanks.
Did you guys happen to watch any of the golf this week?
I did not.
I didn't catch
It was
much
pretty
this
good.
week. Yeah.
I only watched the last.
And the Aussies won. Actually, a guy I paid a lot of attention to in Hilton Head was Cameron Smith. I like, as in long-haired Aussie.
Yeah.
Good guy. In fact, he had could have won. He had I think a lousy round on Saturday. He was right up.
Well,
But anyway, and
the
Mark
South
Leishman,
Africans should have.
Louis Oosthuizen.
Louis had hit one of my drives over to the interstate.
Is that right?
And it went. He hit a swimmer, and that was the end of that in overtime.
And was that extra? Was
That
an
was
extra hole?
on the playoff hole. Yeah.
So the Aussies won it with Mark Leishman, the other Aussie.
I am going to ask you this poignant question I asked the Duke, walking up probably the 9th fairway last night. Your choice, David. Do you take a 4-day pass to the Masters or to the Ryder Cup?
Ryder Cup would be maybe a 3-day pass, but that's okay.
Oh boy.
That's what Duke's kind of hesitated.
Well, the Ryder Cup is Action Jackson.
And if you read the Faldo book, which I think you'll love, Nick's a huge Ryder Cup guy.
I would probably take the Masters, and I'll tell you why. Because I've been to the President's Cup, and you don't see
in Montreal.
Yeah,
Meaning too many people?
too many people. Like you couldn't get within 30 feet of the fairway. You
and
couldn't
rabid,
get within,
rabid fans.
And we watched one of the holes was a par 3. You couldn't see him swing. You couldn't see the ball land.
That's a point. That's probably a good point.
So of course this is back when Tiger Woods was playing.
Yeah.
And though he did walk right in front of me.
Yeah.
Did he say, "Hey, it's Dave Handy"?
No, he didn't. And but I would probably take the Masters just because it's more beautiful there.
Yeah, that's pretty much I think what I thought.
And they're doing the Ryder Cup this year.
Ryder Cup, I think Whistling Straits and
Whistling Straits, yeah.
in Wisconsin, right along Lake Superior, I think.
Do you know that course?
I mean, they've had
other.
Isn't that where Dustin Johnson should have won a PGA? I think by walking in the bogus trap and stuff.
Right, because
I think that's
the
where
sand traps weren't well delineated,
and they penalized him. Of course.
Speaking of PGA,
I think that was that course.
That tournament, I believe, is in
not far away.
3 weeks.
Kiowa, back in South Carolina, Kiowa Island.
Yeah,
where Rory won in a romp 10 years ago.
Do you know that area?
I mean, I kind of go by it. I've never been out there, but it's one of the beautiful islands on the South Carolina
coast. One of my old.
Is that a water course though? You can see the ocean.
It's the ocean course.
It's on the ocean.
Okay.
One of my old.
Beautiful course.
Do you remember Eddie Tessier?
Yep.
Eddie was my member guest partner for a few years. Eddie worked at Kiowa Island.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Wow. No, it's a great. I mean, I know the terrain. It's great place. That'll be fun. Yeah, that's not far away.
It's kind of cool having the PGA. What they've done is you start with the players,
right?
Then the Masters, then the PGA.
No, very good move.
U.S. Open,
British Open Championship,
and then you got either the Ryder Cup
and the FedEx. You got
and the FedEx,
which is kind of fun. No, that was a good move, I think.
Of course, what I think it does is the fall season. When they start
the wraparound season,
that's really worthless.
Yeah. I don't pay a lot of attention.
By then, you're sick of golf anyway.
Yeah. No, I think that was a very good move.
Yeah.
Now
so the Duke last night playing for his first time.
Good start.
And
triple bogey, double bogey to start.
That happens.
But but then I birdied and miraculously birdied the par 3 third.
Yeah.
Big long putt.
Played a decent, I'm embarrassed to say. I mean, I used to hit maybe 7 or 8 irons to that green. Hit a 5-iron yesterday, nice shot, and somehow got the putt in. But it was great to be out with the guys.
He was impressed how verdant the course was.
That's a great word, Hawk. Good word.
I don't think I've ever seen that course any greener.
It looks beautiful.
And again, I've never met Jesus Christ personally, but he probably looks like Chris Saylor, the club superintendent. This guy, him and his lady friend.
And said lady friend was working away when we were out there.
She was working at 7 o'clock last night, David. She was out on...
they work. Yeah. They are tireless workers.
And
whatever they're paying them ain't enough.
It ain't enough. And they're quiet.
They're nice people.
Yeah. You say hi to them, they'll say hello back.
It was great to get back to Champlain.
But when
have you eaten? Have you sampled the inside?
Well, we've mostly just had a couple beers, so can't say too much.
Gotcha.
In that new deck they're going to build,
that'll be really nice.
Fabulous.
The members lounge is kind of nice too on the inside.
I haven't been in yet. Haven't had time.
Yeah, I got to get inside more. I'm never wander inside.
The Chris Saylor, I'll give you a quick story because we're just about done.
Minute and a half.
He was 1 minute.
I always park right behind number 9 green. One time, a couple, 2-3 years ago, I parked there and he was playing golf, and then he bonked my truck and left me a note. And so it wasn't a big deal. Dent doctor took care of it. And but every time I see him, I say, I hope the hell you aren't playing golf today.
I'll do you one better. I'm playing in a member tournament 25 years ago. We start on number 1 on the black tees. They had the old railroad ties there. So I hit my drive, probably didn't get any more than 6 inches off the ground. It hit that railroad tie, and it sounded like the nuclear bomb at Hiroshima. I mean, it just went boom like that, and no idea where the ball went. About 8 seconds later, you hear a big like that. It landed way, way to the left in the parking lot, hit Bobby Tooth's hood, and put a dent about that big, and he was real good about it. I bought him a beer, but that, I mean, how do you do that? So anyways, good to have the Three Stooges back.
This is my last one. The men's league
next week.
Next week?
I think it starts the 5th.
Are you sure? I thought it started 12th.
Oh, man, this is...
I think it's the 5th.
Oh,
no.
Well...
Hey, if it rains, remember us on a...
Don't worry, I won't forget.
So, for Dave, the Duke, and the Hawk, and our engineer, Mr. Alan Ritchie Cunningham, till next week, everyone. Ciao.
See ya.